This is the XenHouse Podcast, episode 53.
53.
We're back. I got you. Feel me? Niner gang.
That was your boy? He started in front of you?
That's crazy.
Yeah, just like you started at Pacer Arizona. Oh, they almost shut down, didn't they?
That was low.
How's that regional
low,
combine results coming in, huh?
Well, I'm still waiting for the results.
Low
I'm still
blow.
ready, too. I'm still ready to go.
You ever get a check from the NFL? Oh,
Low blow.
Nah, I didn't get it. I didn't
Okay.
receive nothing.
Low blow.
yeah. Must be
All right,
nice.
continue. Yo.
That was messed up, yo.
Hey, that's life. Keep it moving. Introduce yourself.
I can't move the way I used to. Had to call the audible. I put in the work, no humble flex. And talk of the town, you see who next. They on checkers, I'm on chess. Had to hit up with the X. XenHouse.
My name is Des Hines.
It's your boy, A. Joe.
And Ross B. Hey, today we have a special guest, our Colombian brother, from the town. Although he went to the opposite school in the town. We still rock with them, right? We still rock with them. Man, this man has put in a lot of work. You might know him from the Red Bulls, most notably. But like he's done so much work before that to even get to that point. So like his work ethic, his ambition is like unmatched, and over the years we've seen him grow, from training his cousin, training with his boys, and they're still together, you know what I mean? And that's kind of like how we are. And he's actually put his boy inside of the facility he's at. So like, that's true brotherhood, you know what I mean? And without further ado, it's Jhonny Arteaga. Welcome.
Welcome, Johnny.
Thank you, guys.
Sade!
Pleasure to be here with you guys.
Thank you, man.
Yeah,
Thank
appreciate-
you.
Appreciate the invite.
Yeah, so like I was saying, like this guy, he started his own football club, not American football, okay,
Say
aka
it correctly,
soccer.
Ross.
He started his own soccer club, and like we've seen the progression, right, over the years of like him just getting a bigger and bigger club, right, going into town. And like we've seen it more recently with the Stanford High guys.
Mhm.
So that's just showing you the work that he's doing not only in the town but in the outside areas. Jhonny, like, can you go into a little bit of detail about why you started your own football club, how soccer even started for you, right?
Yeah.
And where you were compared to where you went and now where you are.
It's been a phenomenal journey for
Yeah.
sure.
Long journey.
I mean, as a player, as a kid growing up back in Colombia, all I did was play soccer. I had a ball at my feet from 2 years old onwards, and that's all I knew. It's the game. And fortunately, I was able to play through youth, moved to Stanford when I was 12. I did play at Stanford High, freshman, sophomore, junior year.
Hurricanes. Don't forget about the Hurricanes.
Hurricanes, transferred
Mitch.
over to West Hill. Was fortunate to go on a scholarship to Dominican University, Division
Nice.
II program, small program in Rockland County. And, had some success there, had my burning desire to be a professional, and I went after that dream and fortunately was able to play. New York Red Bulls, FC New York in the USL, Pittsburgh, little stint in Poland, so traveled a little bit. And then I started J Elite Soccer in 2011 with a small group of kids. I was running some teams in Darien and started doing some clinics. And, slowly I think the product, the work ethic and professionalism I brought, I think started to just translate to some growth. And people started to recognize the work we were doing with those kids. And, one thing led to another. And now, fortunately, we run
here.
pretty much that whole program. And we have outside programming in Stanford, fortunate to be able to touch a lot of lives in the area and really help the landscape continue to grow the game. So just a little
background.
yeah, a little background there for sure.
That's dope, man. So, my bad.
Good. I was just going to say, at what point in your youth career did you realize, like, I can take this further, I can play in college, I can play pro? Like, what happened for you to...
I think there were a lot of moments, if I think back. I mean, when I was probably like 10 years old in Colombia, I had a dream. Like, I would watch the Colombian national team and I would, narrate the game and say, okay, here comes this one and passes it on to me and scores and whatever. So you had that dream. But really, to think about it, to dream about it as a young kid, to then start to actually execute things on the field and work hard. And I think when I was probably little bit older, probably in high school, I just had this desire that I was like, all right, I have some tools. I love what I do. I love this. I'm going to chase it. It was my passion. So really, I think the moment I really elevated my game was probably between my senior year into my freshman year in college. It was actually quite late in terms of, I personally saw a level of development that was like, I can do this because my discipline in college was completely different than my peers.
Yeah.
And, you know, just physically I became, you know, different with growth, with working in the gym, doing all the workouts that needed to do. And then the technical side just became much easier for me once this, you know, sort of add on to my game.
Yeah.
So
Hold on, before you go, I got a next question to follow up with that.
Yeah.
How important was training to get you from mediocre or good to great? Like what? How?
Everything. It's everything. It's the difference. I think at the end of the day, you have to be committed to the game, and you're not going to get. It's simple. You work hard. You're disciplined. You work at something. You're going to get better at it, right? So your commitment to that, I think, my commitment to that was the biggest thing. I was training on my own, finding ways, you know, doing whatever I needed to do, while some of my friends were not doing that per se. That at times I felt maybe had more talent than I did.
Right.
But
you outworked them.
Yeah, it was just that commitment, that discipline, that work ethic. So.
Something clicked. You know, maybe it was like you going back to that dream and seeing, all right, like if I do this, then I could get here. Not really knowing, you know, the outcome, because soccer is it's a hard
Very
sport,
hard.
Especially like, you know, where you went to school and then where you ended up. There were so many other steps that you had to take to get there. Like the development in itself is insane.
Yeah.
You know, there's so much time. Like, how much time did you put into training? If you could think back, how much time did you put into training?
I was training every day.
Yeah, by yourself.
Yeah, at times by myself, in groups or with the team, and doing additional stuff, staying after training, doing stuff in the gym. A lot of the stuff, I didn't even know, like you said, what the outcome was going to be. I didn't even know how far this could take me, but it was my day to day. It was my day to day thinking about that aspiration. But, you know, I think what really, you know, now that you say it, like maybe what clicked is also, you're in college, I'm on a scholarship to play Division II soccer. I have a coach that came in and really believed in my abilities. And I was like, all right, I can really be a leader here. And then I started tasting a little success, right? Because that's also important in college as a freshman and sophomore. And I was like, okay, I can probably do something.
Do this.
So I think that was an important thing for me. And I agree with you. The journey and my pathway to be able to play in Major League Soccer, it's crazy if you think about it. Like, not many players come out through that pathway, you know. But I think it was also that you have to make your way, man. It's a burning desire to be successful, and if you just keep grinding, and obviously there's a lot of different little things that need to play out, right? A little bit of timing, a little bit of luck at times, but you have to be ready and prepared.
That's it. Alex
What do you think?
thought he was a big soccer player.
Jhonny knows. I still am. Jhonny knows. I used to run around and practice with these dudes.
That's right.
They was all like, yo, this dude here again. I said, that was me.
He's not lying.
That's
for
why
sure.
I was better than everybody in my age group. I was playing with these dudes. But for you, what do you think the biggest difference between, you know, when you grew up playing versus now? Like, what do you see in these kids?
A lot of changes.
Yeah.
Definitely. I mean, I grew up with and playing in Stanford with some parent volunteers who are still around, but I think the professional side of coaching has changed tremendously. So, you know, obviously I now run J League Soccer, which we provide all that like support to these different clubs in town. We actually support Darien Soccer.
Yep.
And what we're the way we're developing the players. Look, I didn't know how they were doing it back then, but as a player, I didn't know as a coach back then.
Right.
But I can't imagine it being similar to what we're doing in terms of the progression, in terms of, you know, part of sort of my role is to also grow that piece, right? What we're teaching these kids, how we're developing them, the access they have to different things we didn't really have.
Yeah.
No, we had to figure it out.
You have to figure it out, exactly. Just even training sessions, the way we're setting up practices, we're doing plans. You're doing, coaches are doing more professional development, educations, and different licensing and all that kind of stuff. So I think that's definitely changed, and that definitely helps the player.
It's completely different.
Yeah,
and I think we're in a state where like just the country, United States, is trying to grow anyway, because we're so far behind, and we can't take L's in sport. So like, I think everyone is just tuned in. Messi's coming, all these guys prior to him coming. You've been down, right?
I went to a couple weeks ago to watch Messi for the first time live, so it was good.
You fanboy? You fanboyed? You fanboy?
You have to. That guy, man.
Man, that's a legend.
That's the best for sure.
That's sick, man.
I got a question. So you know how kids are introduced to sports. Usually people say, soccer should be the first sport. Why do you think that is, one? And two, why in America soccer doesn't usually stick to it's deemed the starter sport?
Yeah.
What do you think?
And then it becomes like a secondary sport right as you get older.
I mean, there's people obviously that soccer is their main sport, but usually it's introduced as the starter sport, and it doesn't stick in America. That is.
Yeah, I mean, listen. I think a lot of the families introduce their kids to soccer because of the dynamic, the sport being so dynamic, right? There's a lot of running involved. There's a lot of coordination. All those things are difficult, and if they get them at the younger age groups, I think that can help them. That can translate to any sport.
Yeah.
I mean, I personally think, and I'm going to be biased because it's a sport I've played and I'm involved, but I think it's probably one of the hardest sports to play because of the physical demands of the sport, and then the mental side and the decision making you have to have, at the higher levels. Like, it's easy to play a pass, on a post, but to do that, in a full, sprint, but at the same time, understanding space, positioning, being aware, that's difficult. And I think at the younger ages, the kids really get a lot from the sport. I think that, we're going to grow the sport in a way. I think the U.S. will grow the sport in a way that it starts kind of becoming part of our culture.
Right.
I think we're still very young in the U.S. as a sport.
Yeah.
So, we can't compare soccer in the U.S. to football or to baseball. Those are part of
the culture.
The culture, Whereas in other countries, you talk about Italy, Germany, Spain, Argentina, Brazil. Like, this is it, man.
Is it.
So we need to start building our history and our culture a little bit, and success is important to that. So going back to what you're saying, like, we have to win, and people like to win, and once you're winning, I think things will start. Yeah,
everybody starts to follow, right?
Miranda hates when I say our future kids starter sport soccer. She's like, why I got to be a starter sport? Like, that's the sport.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I think there's definitely kids kind of fall out of it. At some age groups, there are a lot of different things. I think from being in the area, I think a few things could be like the social side. A lot of kids play other sports, and so the soccer players may feel like, oh, I'm not part of that group. I want to kind of be part of this group. I want to kind of get involved. That could be a piece. The other piece, I think that with soccer is different than most sports in terms of high school soccer at today is very. It's not the main pathway to professional soccer.
Right.
Whereas in other sports, it is. It might be the only pathway.
Yeah.
So the true soccer players, 100% committed to the game in today's landscape, aren't really playing high school soccer. We're seeing a little change now, where some kids do want to have that experience and still be the best soccer player they can be, which I'm actually pretty happy about that, because I think we should have a balance of like, hey, the soccer experience in high school could be very good. We just have to make sure that whatever we do as leaders in this game, we can provide for the players still. So I think that could be a thing too, that some players or young athletes may have aspirations of playing college soccer. They might be, or professionally, and they might be like, well, I don't know if this is my pathway.
Yeah.
It's difficult. Soccer's a difficult
tough.
sport.
Yeah,
It
I
ain't
was just
easy.
gonna go into that. Like we all train, soccer players, and we all have elite soccer players and like okay soccer players, and the effort and the time that you put into it to even be like noticed is a lot. It's a lot. Like these dudes are running. Your cardio is gotta be top of the line, or you're not making it.
Yeah.
But I wanted to go back into the time when you said, hey, like I want to start J Elite, right? Like obviously your name is Jhonny Arteaga, right? But tell us why you chose that name, and also like what in that moment, right, when you were coaching those kids, did you say, hey, I want to start this club in the town of Stanford, and I just want to push.
So this is back in 2011. I was actually coaching for a close friend of mine, and I had some teams in Darien that I was running for him, and he, I was part of his program up north, and he was like, look, I want nothing to do with anything down there. If you're I had aspirations of doing my own thing. He said, go for it. He's a guy that I respect very much, and I'm still very close friends with. And so at that moment, I was like, okay, this is an opportunity for me to do what I want to do, because I always had the aspiration. I always play the game, and even while I was playing at the professional level, I was coaching. I always really enjoyed being around the kids and really, I don't know, I just felt like I was really close and connected with the game, And it's also not easy to do. I have a lot of friends and people that play the game at the highest levels, but have no interest in coaching or don't really enjoy it, I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed doing camps and little things like that. So, when I was making this decision, I was like, okay, I wanted my name on it, and so my initials, and then I wanted it to be an elite program in terms of how we develop the players.
Right.
So I just went with that name, and I think we've pretty much have stayed true to those principles when we started, right? Like providing high-level training and quality, and I think it's grown, but organically as well.
Right.
I think it's been tremendous growth, 100%, but it's been sort of nothing that I've pushed like, oh, let me build these teams and all this. It's like almost as the people, the families, the community have asked for what we've provided. Like, here's what's next. Here's what's next.
Yeah, progression.
So progression, exactly.
Yeah.
So, I'm fortunate to be in this position, to be able to help a lot of players and also just support the community through soccer. But those were the starting days back in 2011, and I wanted just to make an impact. And I still to this day think, okay, we launched this club branch for high school age groups now.
Right.
How can we further impact the players? And,
Well, I have a
and support
question
them?
off of that. So you just started the club aspect for the high school. How do you level up and continue to grow and be known as a top program, opposed to, like, let's say, Ross, us three, we started a XenHouse soccer club. Like, what do you have to go through to be top tier versus like any other person just starting something and doing
and
their
I
own
think
thing?
a lot of that is going to be a little bit of time too, and developing your own history as well. A lot of these leagues or these programs are all, it should be, and it's merit based in terms of how you progress from league to league. So we have a starting point where we enter our teams, and hopefully with some success, our teams can start getting more access to higher level competitions, and hopefully that's our goal, to provide the best platform for the players. But in terms of how we can differentiate ourselves, I think our philosophy has been proven to develop players. Again, going back to the J Elite, when we started our select program, for example, I know you guys know Drew Bayer very much. He was one of the young boys from this group of kids that we had, and five of those kids are today playing in Major League Soccer clubs.
That's sick.
So you're doing something right.
So exactly. So we've had the opportunity to have some success in developing players through to the high school, through the college ranks, and to the professional ranks. So I think our philosophy and our approach is definitely the difference. And I've been fortunate to bring in people who are very professional and share the same passion as I do to be able to lead these teams. And our coaching staff is top notch. So I think that's something that coming in to start the club at the older age groups, we wanted to make sure it was it's high quality and we maintain our principles, but also, happy to start and progress the teams, slowly.
Yeah.
So off of what you're saying with the coaching staff, if you don't have a good coaching staff, obviously the program's not going to run correctly. How do you pick the right coaches to help these young athletes develop? Like, how do you figure out who's who, what role you want to make?
Good question. I think, as I've gained experience through the game itself, teaching me the children, the players, the families, you start to understand that certain coaches and certain people can do better with certain age groups and certain levels.
Yeah.
There might be coaches that are more, really competitive to understand the game. The guys that are currently in the J League Football Club have all professional playing backgrounds, all of them, and are also licensed coaches that see the game from a tactical standpoint, but understand what it is to be a player.
To be a player.
You know what I mean?
Very
so I think
important.
for me,
super important.
it's very important. They've played the game at the highest levels, but also, and they know that as a player, but they're also knowledgeable about the game.
Yep.
At that level with like 15, 16, 17, 18-year-olds, we're now talking a lot of tactics, right?
Yep.
And a lot of like starting to manage these players. How do we trigger these players to perform and really help them elevate their game?
Right.
Whereas a developmental player at 6 years old might need a coach that's a little bit more energetic and more,
Playful.
personal with that
Yeah.
player and really help that player grow on the fundamentals. So I think it's just understanding that.
Yeah.
And I think, fortunately, we have in season, we have over 20 coaches. So it's a lot of management, but I've also, have some people have director roles as well, which is also really important.
Yeah.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
that's awesome, man. So now, with all these things going on, right? You got 2 boys, Alex popping out, two girls.
Yeah, I'm going to say, I'm done with 3. Done.
Hey, he got his boy now. How do you find time, right, between work and family life balance? There's a lot of things going on, right, where you're building your brand, right? How do you find time for those boys and for
And to
your
add
wife?
into that, how do you find time for you to get your fitness in?
Right,
On top of that.
right.
Early mornings,
Mhm.
and then I still play Wednesday nights
Okay.
at our league. I have to keep moving myself a little bit. No, I think, listen, the most important thing for me is my family and my kids. And obviously I'm super committed to this, is what I do. And I feel like it's kind of my purpose, right? And when you find this in life, you feel like, all right, this is what I was meant to do. Even going back to my playing days, right? I could have probably played longer in a USL league. And there was just this energy kind of pulling me towards what I'm doing today. And, my mom is one that's like, she tells me all the time, she's like, this was the way. This is what you're doing today is what was meant to be,
Done. Yeah.
and having that experience at a professional level. So for me, I have to continue to balance that and understand this is my role. But for me, my family is the most important thing, man. And, any opportunity I have to be with my family, I will take it, and being at my kids, my son's, my oldest Christmas shows today, and I'll be there. So, if I have to move things around, and
Gotta make it work.
I have to make it work.
The
So,
plus of owning your own stuff and being able to
exactly.
make yourself
Not easy.
available.
Yeah, not easy, but it's a balance. It's life. And I'm really blessed to have a wife who understands this as well, because it's not easy. She's been with me from my playing days, and she's traveled all over the world with me and has seen the craziness of all this. So, she understands that at times I have my kids and wife come to my games. So I'm coaching a game and they're coming, and so, that's definitely an important support for me, having my family. So
How has she handled it over the year? It's been
not
a
easy.
minute. It's been a minute.
Yeah, I know.
It's been a long time, right?
I think that's
with
the
you guys
common
together.
that's the common answer with people that we have that are doing things and they're successful with. They
Wife.
have that family and that wife
That's
that
it.
Got to.
you know
They got to hold it down.
Yeah, they gotta hold it
for
down.
them.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. No, you gotta have the balance for sure. It's really important.
Yeah.
It's that time.
It's that
It's that
time.
time.
It's that time. Let's
We
do
got
it.
questions, we need answers. All right. You the first question you kind of already answered without even knowing, but it's Messi or Ronaldo? Who you picking?
Messi.
Hands
Ronaldo's
down.
ahead of him.
It's not even close.
Those two guys, we're fortunate. People say this all the time,
Yeah,
but
that's
we really
rare
are.
to see
Yeah.
all
The
that.
people that love this game and the people that are in this game are fortunate to see these two guys, top athletes,
Yeah.
compete during the same time. But I think for me, Messi has just a special touch. He was God-given just here. This is
Yeah.
what you're meant to be, man.
Yeah.
So I think Messi for me has a
It's
little
clear.
step.
It's clear.
The argument is there, but like I think people see like what you just said, right? Like the God-given talent of Messi is just it can't be matched.
Yeah.
But then when you watch Ronaldo and you learn about his story, like the amount of work it's like LeBron comparisons. This
Mhm.
dude puts so much money into himself that you can't deny him to
You
be
have to.
No,
the top
he's a
two greatest
he is-
athletes of
he
all
is-
time.
He's one of the greatest, man.
Mhm.
I mean, he would be the greatest if Messi was in the same time,
Yeah.
you know? And I relate more to Ronaldo because Messi is just a different, Messi
He's
is
a
different, man.
different
Messi
animal.
is, the guy plays the game and it's like,
What are you
he's
doing?
home. He's like, this is me.
This is what he
He's the
does,
game, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Mhm.
But Ronaldo is an incredible player.
Mhm.
All right, so that's settled.
Who would you have like if you
On my
had to
team?
compare? If you had to compare, we know you're taking Messi, but who would you compare to Messi? Right, going back from all your soccer knowledge and all the guys you've watched, who would you say would be more comparable to Messi that you've seen
As a player,
as a player?
no, I don't know.
There's
You can't-
nobody.
There's
There's
no
nobody.
but
That's a
But-
that says a lot though.
but-
This guy he's
Yeah,
all
man.
soccer.
But I did play with Thierry Henry, who was a teammate of Messi in Barcelona,
Mhm.
FIFA Player of the Year, World Cup winner with France as well.
Yeah.
He was a
Henry
top.
is different
He's also
though.
a top.
Mhm.
He's also in that conversation. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
But I just, I didn't live on the day-to-day with Messi. I did live the day-to-day with Thierry Henry, and the guy was just a whole nother level. You have pros, and then you have Thierry Henry up here,
Mhm.
you know? But I can only imagine if
Well, he
Messi's
was.
doing it at that stage, and
Yeah.
all the time.
it's all the
Yeah,
exactly
Haitians
consistency
love
for these
Thierry
guys,
Henry.
man.
Yeah, he ain't messing
You know?
around.
Next question. If you can go back and give your 18-year-old self a piece of advice, what would it be?
Good one.
This one gets everybody, boy.
I would probably say work harder. Work harder.
Mm-hmm.
And stay committed. Because it's not easy when at those age groups to really see it. Now I see it. And sometimes you do say, what if I would have done this or would have done that? Could I have taken it further? But I'm so happy with my journey that it's difficult to also say like, hey, I would have changed this and this. I would have loved to play in, top league in Europe as a pro, right?
Mm-hmm.
But again, going back to like the journey and the purpose,
Yeah.
I love everything I do.
Mm-hmm.
But I think take every opportunity, work hard, stay committed to your dreams. That I think is going to be an advice I could give any 18-year-old, and I would have done it to myself.
Yeah. Next one. You've coached college. You've coached at Iona. You've coached kids all the way up through. If you had to pick between coaching college kids who can process what you're asking them to do and be able to do it, or coaching kids that you have to develop, which one will you pick?
Good question. Really, I've gotten this question before. It's two different things, I think. Coaching college or even our JLE football club kids who are going to go to college is more, it's a balance of development and competition, and you're prepping them to win, right? At the college game too, you want to develop these players, but the players you're getting at those age groups are almost set where they are
Right.
technically at that point, So I think I enjoy both. I personally like to work with 11, 12, 13-year-olds and see them really develop. I really enjoy that. But as a competitor, I think coaching at the competitive level is the best. But I don't know. That's a tough one.
That is tough.
It's a tough one for me to choose. I do really well developing players, in my opinion. But I really love to compete too and prep games and
very
watching
tough,
opponents.
yeah.
It's a tough one.
But the
It's a tough
best,
one.
that is a tough question. Like the best is, well, from my experience, right, is when like you're coaching someone who's into it, right? Like Drew, when he was 12, and I used to be like, you can't do this. And he's giving me that look like, I can't do it. And he shows you that he can do it. The development is like, it's unbelievable.
I think I lean more towards that,
The
towards
younger.
developing players.
Yeah.
You know, that's just where I've been. I've also been in my coaching career more in that space. And you know, my experience at the college game was phenomenal, and I enjoy coaching those higher level teams too to compete and win. But I like you, I share that same sentiment where when you're developing a group of players and you're like, okay, here's where you are, and then seeing them succeed and seeing them do how you want them to, you know, what your vision is and execute it. It's beautiful.
It's beautiful. Yeah.
Next question. What's the most important lesson you've learned so far over your career? Number one.
It's a
Johnny's like,
3-part question.
These are tough. I was not prepared for these. I was not prepared for these questions.
Yeah, you could go so many different ways, but what's the number one?
What's the most important lesson I've learned over my career as a player or as a coach? In general.
Both. Yep.
Hard work beats talent. I mean, I've seen it. So I think that's important.
You lived it.
I lived it, exactly. I was with peers that, you know, maybe they were better than me at one point, but they weren't. I wasn't going to let that stop me. They weren't committed. And I think just in general in life, I think those principles don't change. Discipline, work ethic, commitment, you know. So I think that for me has been a lesson learned through my career and life. So.
What's the most memorable moment of your career so far? And that's player and as a coach.
As a parent.
And as a parent.
Oh,
that's
come
everything.
on, man.
When my kids were born, it was the best thing in life.
Right.
It's the most fulfilling thing I think I've experienced. You know, my kids, my children. But as a player, I think making my debut in MLS. You know, I didn't have a big career in MLS, but being there and having my family and people that from the area supporting me and being able to step on the field was a memorable time for me. I also had a really good year the year prior to that, and I was a Golden Boot, which is the top scorer of the USL at that time, second tier. So that was another memorable moment for me personally. In college, winning championships with guys who are now still my friends.
Yeah.
You know, and thinking back now, that's you know, memorable. And as a coach, just seeing our teams succeed and on the field, whether it's, you know, winning and seeing kids progress to a different level, those things for me are important. And you know, I feel them. You know, when I see a kid that I've had and has now gone and played at the next level, and you see them there, that's impactful for me.
Fulfilling, for sure. Last question. When it's all said and done, how do you want to be remembered?
As a guy who loved the game, as a guy who cared about the people, and simple, honest guy, and a guy who worked hard. That's it.
That's all you can ask for.
Yeah.
That's all you can ask for. That's all you can ask for, man.
That's it.
So like, this is crazy, man. Like, I'm happy for you. Obviously, you know, we've seen the progression. I've trained you with Jimmy, our boy Enrique. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm so happy for them as well. You know, there's just so many things that just has happened from 2011 till now that like we all just got to be happy for each other.
That's it.
Absolutely, man. I'm happy for you guys for what you're doing. This is incredible stuff. You know, you guys are doing a great job with XenHouse, and you guys got to keep it going. It's only the beginnings.
Most definitely. We're just getting started.
That's right.
You gotta tell the people though where to find, JA Elite, like on
which camera?
on Instagram, on Facebook, and everything like that.
Instagram at J Elite Soccer, Facebook at J Elite Soccer, JEliteSoccer.com, J Elite Football is our new branch for high school age groups, and I hope to see some of the players in the area that are looking to elevate their game join us.
Yo,
One last thing.
Pull up if you're in the town.
One last thing for these high school kids you got. Let them know you still got it.
I do.
They always say that. They always think it.
I do.
You have to show them what's up sometimes.
Things,
Okay.
A couple things here and there.
Yeah.
They try to test you.
I know they do.
A few of them play in our league too.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
I find out, these guys are playing in our league, huh? Wait till you play my team.
You give them a little
Gotta
son.
give them that work.
I saw the
No,
I saw
it's not easy, man. As I'm getting older, I'm 37 now, and it's not easy. It's not easy. I know.
You start using this.
Oh, yeah, that's all.
I saw the rainbow.
You saw the rainbow.
Yeah,
I play in the
We're gonna
final
clip
third. Right here. Just short movement, sharp movement, score some goals.
That's it.
Yeah, keep it simple.
That's right.
Appreciate you coming.
Thank you, guys.
We appreciate you, man.
So 53.
JA Elite.
XenHouse, yeah. XenHouse, yeah.